Hi, welcome to InDesign CC 2021, Classroom with a Book, Chapter 3, which is all about setting up a document and working with pages. This one will take a little bit longer. It will have multiple parts for the tutorial. This is part 1. We're going to do quite a few different things as far as this one goes, from learning how to set up master pages and how to add pages, how to rearrange and delete them, how to lay out different types of elements. It can get a little bit frustrating. It's going to be okay. I promise. We're going to work our way through it. So for this one, we're not starting with a start document. We're going to go actually create our own preset to begin with. So let's go ahead and open up InDesign, and let's go to our window and workspace and make sure our workspace is set to advanced. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and skip to the bottom, page 59, creating and saving document settings. So we're going to create our own preset for this 8-page newsletter. So maybe this is something that you do over and over again. You've got to produce this newsletter every week, so it really makes a lot of sense to only set the document up once and to have it over and over again. So let's go to Edit and Preferences. If you're on a Mac, you need to go to the Apple to get to your preferences. I'm on a PC, so Edit and Preferences. And we want to come down here to Units and Increments. And we want to make sure that we are on, we want to make sure we're on inches. So horizontal is on inches and vertical is on inches. So make sure it's set up there and say OK. So now what we're going to do is do File, Document Presets, and we want to define a new one. So here we want to say New. So we're creating a new one. And we're going to go ahead and call it Classroom in a Book Newsletter. And it's going to say, what do you want to do with it? Okay, my intent is print. My pages is going to be 8. I want to have facing pages, which means, yes, when I look at it, I want to have the pages side by side. I want to make sure my letter is size is page. My letter is page. My page letter is size is letter. Wow, I'm on a roll. For columns, we want to go ahead and choose 3. And make sure our gutter is the space between the columns, is 0.125. So I'm going to put 0.125 in there. And for the margins part, we want to make sure they're all slightly different. So we're going to break this chain in between them. And we want the top, we're going to type in 1.3125, which is kind of specific. For the bottom, we're going to go ahead and put 0.375. For the inside, we want 0.5. And the outside, we want 0.25. So we are not going to worry about, we are going to worry about bleed and slug first. So bleed and slug, we want to go ahead. The bleed gives you a border around the outside of it, because sometimes the printer needs to have a little bit of give just in case they cut something crooked. So it gives you that bleed. And the slug is an area that printers use to put like the name of the document on it. So let's go ahead and make sure that they are for all the same. And we want to go ahead and set that bleed option to 0p9 and tap, and it's gonna, and that equals 0.125. Well, they're all the same because we have this as they're linked as all the same, and then we're going to say OK. So now I've got this new document. So I'm going to say OK. So now let's go ahead and do File and New Document. And from our new document box, we're going to go ahead and say Preset Details. We should look at Saved. And we should have one that says Classroom in a Book Newsletter. That's the one we want. So if we see, it's got our size of our pages, it's got the number, it's got everything all set up for us in advance, and we're going to go ahead and say Create. All right, so if we look at our pages, I'll close our links, you can see that with our pages, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, we've got 8 pages. They're all blank right now. We are going to go ahead and fill those in. Let's do a file, save as. Let's go into our lesson number 3 and grab our first initial, last name, underscore in design, classroom in a book, chapter 3, and save. All right, and now we've got that ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and work with some master pages. Master pages help you quite a bit in creating repeatable elements from one page to another, but you only have to put them on the page one time. So the first thing we're going to do is add some guides to our master pages. Let's go up here to our pages and go up here to our A master and double click on it. And that's going to take us into our master. The trick is when you're working on the masters, you can only add items to those pages. If whatever you put on the master is going to appear on every single page. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add a guide. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that over just a little bit. And guides make it easier for you to kind of see what we're going to be doing. So let's go to Layout and come down here to Create Guides. And we want to make sure we can preview that we see them as we go along. And we want to, let's go ahead for the rows option, choose 4. And then for the gutter, we want 0.125. Going the wrong way. Oh, totally going the wrong way. I'm just going to type it in. 0.125. And then for columns, we want 2. And we want 0 gutter for those. And we want to fit the guides to the page. And then we're going to say OK. So now you see we've got these imaginary blue lines that kind of help us figure out where we're going to put things on the page. So now if I go ahead and click into, this has got A master, this has a little A on my pages. So I can tell that the A master is applied. So when I double click there, I get the guides, but notice I can't actually move them. So that's kind of the beauty of having the guides on the master, is you can work with them and have them not get in the way. Let's go ahead and do a Control S and save. All right, I'm going to go back into my master. And now we want to go ahead and drag a guide. So we want to go from, all right, so we're going to open the transform panel, so window, object layout, and transform. We're going to do a few different things. Without clicking, we want to make sure that we can kind of see where we're measuring from. So we want to now, from the top, we're going to hit Control or Command, and we want to drag that ruler down. So we're going to click and hold and drag it down. By doing Control, it's going to happen on both pages. And see how that we get that Y? That Y should be down to 0.375. So we're really making a top one. But you see, it's kind of not doing exactly what I want it to do. So I'm going to let go of my mouse, let go of Control, and I can go in with my numbers and adjust that by hand if you can't get it just perfect. So now we can see that we've got that guide that goes across both. If I just drag a guide down, it would only appear on the one page. So that's where you add the control. Let's go ahead and bring one more down to 10.75. So Control and bring it down. 10.75. There we go. Ooh, I got that one just right. And let go. Let's do a Control S and save. And from here, let's go ahead and I think that's all they want. Oh, nope. We want some vertical ones too. All right, so we're going to come here and drag over to 0.5. Almost there. So I can change that to 0.5. And then we want one, or else do I want 16.5. So I'm going to go ahead and control minus and zoom out a little bit. All right, so let's grab this, come over to 16.5. Ooh, I did that one just right. And now we have all of our guides on our page. And you can tell which guide you're on because it's a little bit darker blue than the kind of bright cyan color. So we've got what we need. Close that transform panel and do a Control S and save what we've got so far. So we're going to go ahead and play with a few more guides. So let's go to page 6. Sometimes we want to only have guides on certain pages, so you don't always necessarily have to set up a master. So we're going to add some different ones just on page 6. We're going to go ahead and drag a vertical ruler 1 inch from the left. So we're going to grab one, drag it over here to 1 inch, and that one's only going to appear on page 6. And let's go to layout and then ruler guides, and let's make it a slightly different color. So let's make it red so we can kind of see just what's going on this one, and say OK. So now you can tell the difference between your two different types of guides. And let's go ahead and we're going to create more of these. So let's go ahead with our selection tool, drag across just this guide. So you see just the one is going to get selected because it's not on the master. We're going to do a repeatable process. So we're going to do edit. We want step and repeat. And that's up here, it's toward the middle. And we want to make sure preview is turned on. We want to make sure that we turn on 3 for the repeat count. And we want to be 0.75 on the horizontal offset. So it's pretty close. Yeah, it's probably faster just to type that in. All right, so we're putting those in and say OK. Now I'm going to take my selection and drag across all of them. And now I want to do edit. I want to do copy. And let's go ahead and down page 8 and do an edit or a, how do we want to do this? Edit and paste. And it's going to go ahead and repeat those on this page. So you can easily create guides and move them around that way. All right, so let's do, it says edit clear, but I want to go ahead and have you leave them on so I can see you did it. So Control S and save. And we're going to go ahead and make a text frame on that master page. Let's go ahead back into our pages. Let's go here to our master page A. So any graphic that you place on the master page appears on all the pages. So let's go ahead and go to the left master. Let's go to the type tool. And we're going to go ahead on where the two intersect kind of here at the top. We're going to create a text frame and we're going to edit it later. So we're going to be creating kind of a page number. So let's go from here over to here and see how the guides turn colors and bring it down a little bit. And now we're going to do type. We are going to do insert special character. So numbers are a special character. They're called a marker. And we want to go ahead and put current page number. And it's going to go ahead and give you that letter A. Letter A just means that it is a placeholder. So right now we want to add a space. We want what's called an M space, which is kind of printer talk for how wide an M was in a certain typeface. So let's go to type, insert white space, and we want an M space. And it's going to pop over just a little tiny bit. And now we want to go ahead and say Garden News. All right, and so now anything that's on this pages 2, 4, 6 all have the Garden News now. So let's do escape And let's go ahead and grab our selection tool. Let's select that thing. Let's go to our type and let's go to our character formats over here and let's grab Myriad Pro. So Myriad. Oops. And we want Myriad Pro Bold. Okay. And we want to choose uppercase. So down here at the bottom, you see you've got some options. Here's all caps. We've got different ways to do it here, or we can go to type. And let's go to change case. So you don't necessarily have to redo things. And do uppercase. All right, with that frame still selected, let's go to Object and Text Frame Objects, Options. And let's make sure all settings is turned off so that we can set each one a little bit differently. We want left and right set to 0.125. I'm going to tab and 0.125 again. From align, I want it to align to the middle of my box, so center. And I'm going to say OK. All right, so now we want to go ahead and duplicate that header onto the other side. So let's go ahead and view, fit spread in window. So we've got the whole thing. Let's grab our selection tool and grab this text frame. With that text frame, we're going to go ahead and hit Alt. We're going to get 2 arrows, and it's going to allow us to duplicate that item. Let go of your mouse, let go of Alt, and do a Control S and save. So now we want to make sure, we want to put on it way the other side. Let's go ahead and grab it and slide it way over here. And we want to make sure that it is aligned to the right. So let's go ahead with our type tool. Click right before the A for Garden News and use our alignment and push it over to the right page. So now we've got a little bit of a thing going on, but it's not quite where we want. We want to make sure that our page number actually goes on the back side. So let's go ahead to right before Garden News, delete that page number, delete that M space, or no, just go over to the M space, and let's do a type, insert special character, marker, current page number. It's a little too close, so let's go in between those two. Let's go to type, insert white space, let's do an M space, and now we're pretty close to exactly where we want. So let's go ahead and do a file save and pick this up in the next part of the tutorial.